Hello and welcome to the second lecture of this section, which will be about the second part of the parts of speech. Pronouns. Repeating nouns in conversations can be boring, therefore learning pronouns is important. Pronouns are vital for mastering the English language. They can be used to replace nouns, making sentences more concise and easier to understand. In this lecture, we'll explore what pronouns are, the different types of pronouns, and how you can properly use them in English. By the end, you'll have a better understanding of pronouns and how to use them in your life. So, let's get started. What is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that can refer to a person, place, thing, or idea instead of using the noun itself. Pronouns are often used to make sentences shorter and simpler. If you're looking for pronoun examples, imagine you're talking about your friend John. In this case, instead of saying John is coming over, you could say he is coming over and still get the same point across. Types of pronouns. There are many types of pronouns and each type can be used in different ways. Let's explore some of the most common types of pronouns you'll encounter in English. Personal pronouns. Personal pronouns usually refer to people or things. They include I, he, she, it, we, they, me, him, her, us, and them. These pronouns can be used to refer to people in general way or to refer to specific people. For example, in the sentence I saw John yesterday, the pronoun I can refer to the speaker. In the sentence she saw John yesterday, the pronoun she refers to someone else who saw John. Subject and object pronouns. We use subject pronouns when the pronoun is the subject of the sentence. Some examples of subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. These pronouns show who is doing the action in the sentence. When the pronoun is the object of our sentence, it becomes an object pronoun. Some examples of object pronouns are me, him, her, us, and them. These pronouns show what the speaker is doing or has done. Subject and object pronouns are easy to distinguish in almost any sentence. For example, in the sentence, the ball was hit by John, the pronoun the ball is the subject and John is the object. Demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns are used to point out people or things. Some examples of demonstrative pronouns are this, that, this, and those. These pronouns help us point out particular people or things. For example, in the sentence, this is my favorite song, the demonstrative pronoun this helps us point out a particular song. They can also help us understand how many things we are referring to. For example, by saying, those books are mine. Reflexive pronouns. In English, when the subject and the object of the sentence are the same person, we use the reflexive pronoun as object. Some examples of reflexive pronouns are myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, and themselves. We use reflexive pronouns to emphasize or refer back to the subject of a sentence. For example, in the sentence, I hurt myself, the reflexive pronoun myself emphasizes that it was the speaker who hurt themselves. We can also use them to emphasize ownership, for example, by saying, she bought herself a new dress. Emphatic pronouns, also called intensive pronouns, are used to refer to nouns or pronouns that have already been seen in the text and have an emphatic role. Some examples of intensive pronouns are myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, and themselves. Unlike reflexive pronouns, intensive pronouns are not necessary for the sentence to make sense. We use them to add emphasis or intensity to a statement. In other words, emphatic pronouns are used to emphasize the subject of the sentence. For example, in the sentence, I myself think it's a good idea, the intensive pronoun myself emphasizes that it's the speaker who thinks it's a good idea. Interrogative pronoun. Interrogative pronouns are used to ask questions. In English, interrogative pronouns are what, which, who, whom, and whose. These pronouns help us ask about people or things. For example, in the sentence, who is the best singer in the world? The interrogative pronoun who helps us ask a question about a particular person. They can also help us understand ownership. For example, by asking a question like, whose ball is this? Possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns help us show possession or ownership of something. Some examples of possessive pronouns are mine, yours, his, hers, ours, and theirs. Possessive pronouns help us understand who owns something. For example, in the sentence, John is on the way over, his car is red. The possessive pronoun his shows that John owns the car. Indefinite pronouns. Indefinite pronouns help us refer to people or things in a general way, without specifying who or what they are. Some examples of indefinite pronouns are anyone, everyone, something, nothing, and each. These pronouns help us talk about people or things without having to be specific. For example, in the sentence, everyone should have a chance to succeed, the indefinite Pronoun everyone refers to all people in general without specifying any particular person. Relative pronouns. Relative pronouns help us introduce a relative clause. Relative pronouns include who, whom, whose, which, and that. Relative pronouns help us understand who, what, or where the relative clause refers to. For example, in the sentence, the man who lives next door is my neighbor. The relative pronoun who introduces the relative clause who lives next door, which helps us understand which man is being referred to. This was all about pronouns. See you in the next lecture.